Over the years, we have debated the existence of giants in our world. Do they exist or do they not? Exist at any concrete evidence that giants once existed but were kept at a distance? Ralph Glidden told an exciting story from the grave while digging on Catalina Island in the Gulf of California between 1919 and 1928. He discovered numerous skeletons in numerous newspaper articles from the time. However, what exactly made it stand out from all other discoveries that claimed that the average height for each was around 7 to 9 feet? One of the Channel Islands off the coast of California in the United States is Santa Catalina Island, also referred to as Catalina Island. The Channel Islands are home to the earliest known humans in North America, as well as the first signs of maritime activities in the Americas. Ralph Glidden, who worked only on islands over several decades, was an amateur archaeologist who discovered ancient burial sites on Catalina Island. Between 1919 and 1928, he is claimed to have uncovered over 800 graves at roughly 100 locations on the island. In addition to finding thousands of artifacts, he also claimed to have found nearly 4,000 human skeletons. This claim has drawn a lot of criticism, with many people charging that he had no respect for the dead. His reasoning was, however, quite sophisticated. He claimed that a tall, ancient race of Indians with fair hair once resided on Catalina Island and the nearby islands. Male adults typically stood around 7 feet tall, so the enormous skeleton he claimed to have found was 9 feet 2 inches tall. After almost 10 years of digging, Glidden lost his benefactor. However, the general consensus is that he simply made up stories about finding enormous skeletons to attract attention and money. Nevertheless, he received little financial assistance and only earned a small amount of money from his discoveries. Furthermore, Ralph Glidden was one of many who discovered a massive skeleton on Catalina Island. An 8-foot skeleton was found on the island, according to articles that appeared in the Pittsburgh Press on July 20th, 1930, and the Daily Telegraph on July 26, 1913. These articles were written by a German naturalist by the name of Dr. A.W. Furstenen. The skeleton was found among unusual artifacts like mortars, pestles, and arrowheads, as well as a strange flat stone with unidentified symbols. Furstenen had heard the narrative of the noble race of giants that had lived on Catalina Island long before the white man arrived while in Mexico. He would discover the skeleton in Avalon Bay's black, stony sand, but the remains have since vanished. If you ask me, that is nothing but suspicious. Numerous accounts of enormous skeletons have been recovered around the islands, not just on Catalina. For example, according to many newspaper accounts, Santa Rosa Island was the site of a dig in 1959 where several skeletons taller than 7 feet were uncovered. The skulls' tops were painted crimson and were characterized as having slanted foreheads. A crew of relic seekers spent 3 weeks off San Nicolas Island west of Catalina in 1897. The Denmark Daily Advocate would subsequently report their finding bones of a giant race on San Nicolas Island. With its mysterious fascination, 2 new jewels are added to the statuary ensemble, capable of capturing the entire world's attention. Whether these bones eventually made it into private collections is unknown. The faces of the Sardinian necropolis's towering carved giants are eerie. They have almost emotionless countenance that resembles the Greek archaic smile. Their deep eyes and blocky noses indicate a protective, even-world wariness. Their statue, some are about 7 feet tall, and age make them even more unusual. Scholars believe the items date back approximately 3,000 years to between 1850 and 750 BCE. They now have much more material to research. A new dig in the Sardinian necropolis of Monte Prama has unearthed the torsos of 2 more towering boxer statues. According to Angela Giaffria of The Guardian, researchers identified them by the characteristic shields around their midsection, similar to 2 others discovered nearby in 2014. It's an extraordinary discovery, says Dario Francescini, Italy's culture minister, in a statement. With its mysterious fascination, 2 new jewels are added to the statuary ensemble, capable of capturing the entire world's attention. Glidden was ready to sell his collection, including the entire series of secrets about the island, in 1930. In exchange, he asked for a lifetime annuity, funds for 5 voyages, and funding for numerous planned publications, including a vast monograph detailing all of his digs. Unfortunately, despite Glidden's optimism, no one wanted to buy his remarkable discovery, and he sold his collection for $5,000 in 1962 at 81. Glidden died just 6 years later. However, an unlabeled box was discovered deep under the Catalina Island Museum archives in March 2012. Glidden's collection of secret records was kept in this box. Among them was most notably a series of one-of-a-kind images of Ralph Glidden digging one of his legitimate, massive, and very ancient skeletons. The towering carved giants of Sardinian necropolis have eerie faces, giants. They have an almost emotionless expression that resembles the Greek archaic smile. Their pointed noses and piercing eyes give off a worry and even weary vibe. Their statue, some are about 7 feet tall, and age makes them even more unusual. Scholars believe the items date back approximately 3,000 years to between 850 and 750 BCE. More information is available for them to research now. The torsos of 2 additional towering boxer statues have been found during a recent excavation in the Sardinian necropolis of Monte Prama. They were recognized by researchers thanks to the distinctive shields around their midsection, which resemble those of 2 other creatures found nearby in 2014. It's an extraordinary discovery, says the Italian minister Dario Franchinetti said in a statement. With its secret fascination, 2 new jewels are added to the statue ensemble, capable of captivating the attention of the entire globe. Another case was seen in Monte Prama, where archaeologists uncovered the torsos of 2 different boxer statues. The newer statues present a distinct difficulty for archaeologists. They must first be taken from the earth in such a way that they may be preserved. The 2 enormous and massive slabs of torsos will need time to be released from the silt around them so they may be prepared as needed for their safe recovery, says Monica Storcino, lead archaeologist for Cagliari and the provinces of Oristano and South Sardinia, in a statement. Part of the appeal of the Monte Prama site arises from its recent discovery. In 1974, Sardinian farmers digging in the fields discovered a stone head. It turned out to be one of the most significant archaeological discoveries in the area, as well as a window into the island's rich history. Initially, archaeologists believed the statues came from Sardinian Carthaginian sites. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, Carthage attempted to exert direct authority over the island's inhabitants by capturing portions of the island around 500 BCE. However, later dating proved the giants were much older, going back from the 18th to the 8th centuries BCE, when the Nuragic culture inhabited the island. Across the island, the Nuragic people have created remarkable megalithic buildings known as nuragi, writes Francesca Mullis for National Geographic. Today, more than 6,000 listed nuragi dot the landscape of the island, an astonishing quantity for an area measuring just over 9,000 square miles, or slightly larger than Wales. According to local Italy, they have identified over 24 statues. The statues have been classified by archaeologists based on their attributes. 16 boxers, 5 archers, and 5 warriors have so far been identified, according to Cabra Civic Museum, where some of these statues are currently located. Excavations have also uncovered a major burial path, according to The Guardian. The almost 200 graves date back from 1950 BCE to 730 BCE, with the bulk containing young men. Archaeologists have continued to unearth parts and larger sections of the giant's torso since the mid-1970s digs. Their function still needs to be determined. According to archaeologists at the site, the statues may have been ancestral stewards watching over the necropolis, a remembrance of an important local historical event, or even a symbol of the lives of the buried. These massive statues depict boxers, archers, and warriors, according to Giovanni Morango Cabra Civic Museum. The giants' fractured state suggests they were purposely destroyed at some point, creating even more issues. Did the Nuragic people destroy the statues during an eternal struggle? Or did another outsider party do so later? Those questions have yet to be answered. Meanwhile, Sardinians regarded the statues as symbols of the island's lengthy history, argues Mullis. The features of the Monte Prama giants are now so well known and celebrated that they have grown to supplant the Nuragi buildings themselves as the emblem of the island's ancient past for many, writes Mullis. Regardless of these findings, the question that all those who have heavily researched Glidden's story have arrived at: where are these skeletons today? Could it have been a publicity stunt, or did Glidden actually find the remains of a lost race of giants? We may never know, but what do you think?